Hello, today we are here with Lynn Suck. She's a financial advisor and mortgage broker, and also the founder of the Women and Money Montreal group. Lynn, thank you so much for joining me today.
Thanks so much for having me, Alan. Always a pleasure.
So first of all, Lynn, I have to express my gratitude. You have hired me to be your photographer for almost 5 years now. So you are part of the reason why I have job security. You continue doing all these kind of events and you always hire me. So I am just so full of gratitude. But I wonder if you could share with the listeners a little bit of your history. How is it that you got started into your business?
So I guess to understand why I have the business now and why I do things the way I do now, you have to understand my upbringing. So I grew up with, typical immigrant story, refugee story. My parents didn't have a lot of money. It was myself and two of my brothers. We, don't even ask for anything. I remember having two pairs of jeans and three shirts, and I kind of rotated everything, and that was my wardrobe. So, but I remember being in school, and I never wanted anyone to know that we were poor. At least in my mind, we were poor. So I started my first business when I was 12, and I didn't do it because I wanted to be a business person. I did it because I needed money. So when I was 12, my first business was making mix tapes. So both mix cassette tapes and mix VHS music tapes, and then would sell them. And I remember I would get the flyers and take a look at which store had the specials on cassette tapes and videotapes in bulk. And I learned about, buying things on sale to decrease your expenses, and how do I maximize my profit potential in my business. And I didn't look at it as a business. I just wanted to buy food at the cafeteria. On Fridays they had Mexican pizza. I loved it. I wanted to make sure I had money for it. So that's the driving force, and I never really stopped. So how did I get into my current business in financial services? It was by accident. I was a young mom, and there was a representative from a group, RESP scholarship plan company, who came to see me. And my then husband, we had a baby, was a few months old, and we were opening a registered education savings plan for our son. The representative said to me, as with like a lot of these companies, have you ever thought of going into the business? And at the time I was 19, 20. I think I was working as a cashier at Renault Depot, again, as a young mom. I didn't go into it right away, but not long after, I kept thinking about it. And so that's how I got into it. I didn't know anything about money. I didn't know anything about finance, but they told me, you just have to do the course, pass the exams, and we'll teach you how to offer this. And then later on over the years, I worked with I became an investment advisor with a wealth management firm, to now being an independent financial security advisor and mortgage broker. And that's how I got into it.
Okay, I would like to ask you about mindset. So you just said that you are an immigrant, a refugee, and I find that a lot of people fall into the victim mentality. Look, my family has nothing, I don't have connections, I don't have money, I don't have education, blah blah blah. So I'm going to be poor for the rest of my life, or whatever they say to themselves. Yet there are other people like you who says, okay, I have nothing, yet this is the best place for me to start building something. So can you talk a little bit about the victim mentality that many people carry with them?
It's something that I really don't understand. But what I do know is that it's easier to play victim than to jump in with 2 feet in the deep end to try to create a better life for yourself. It's easier to complain. It's easier to blame the system. It's easier to say, everything's so expensive, interest rates are going up. It's an easier conversation to have because the majority of people think that way. And it's not something that I understand it, but it's not something that I could relate with, because how I look at it is I look at my parents, and my mother was pregnant with me at the time, and I also had my older brother. They escaped on foot from Cambodia to Thailand, and then flew to Canada. I mean, and their house was bombed back home, like stuff that I can't even wrap my head around. So that victim mentality is not even something that I could that I could accept in my life because I never had to go through that. I mean, what's the worst that could happen here? I don't have to worry about my house getting bombed. I don't have to worry about any of that stuff. We don't live in a perfect country. We don't live in a perfect province. But, in comparison to what my family went through, this is easy peasy.
Okay, well, I have another questions in regard to mindset, and this is a problem that I particular have, but I'm sure you have gone through it as well. I have been doing well, but I have I'm on a group of friends that I'm almost embarrassed to admit that I've been doing good. So I kind of hide my good luck and my prosper, but I also think that it's good to hang out with people like you, for example, who is always building something, who is creating new business, new ideas. So I wonder what you will say to me or to other people who are in my situation, who are comfortable in a group of friends, all of us being poor and without ambition, but yet to be afraid to leave this group to shoot for something higher.
That's something that you have to decide for yourself. Like I know me personally, everyone sees that I'm out there. I like having a good time. Luckily, I'm married to someone who also likes having a good time. But in reality, I spend a lot of time by myself. I don't have many close friends. I know a lot of people, but as for the people that will be there for me, at a funeral or those private moments, I don't have a lot of those for that reason because I've known the same people for many, many years, and there are just some I can't be around that. I can't be around that because it's almost like they suck you in.
Mm.
It's so easy, like I was saying before, to talk the negative talk, to talk about being poor. Oh, this country where I am. Look at what they're doing to me. It's so easy. I just can't empathize with that.
Right. Okay. Well, thank you so much. Well, then, can you describe a little bit more your business? I describe you as a financial advisor, mortgage broker. What is it that you do?
So anything that has to do with insurance, investments, and mortgages, I provide those solutions. And I'm independent as well as a broker, which means that I'm not tied down to one particular financial institution. So therefore, I'm very unbiased when I offer solutions or help clients out. Um, and because I cover three areas of finance, I could actually provide almost like a bird's eye view of a person's financial situation, and really from A to Z. So, someone who's young, just out of university, has their first job, has their first career, we could start with, putting money aside to save towards the down payment of a home. Along the way, they might have insurance needs. And then finally, they have enough money to purchase their home. So it's almost like full circle. It's a really cool thing to do because you see people progressing and growing, and it's nice.
And well, not to be critical, but there I know of some financial advisors that only focus on giving advice to people who already have money. So which are the people who need it the least because they're already there. Yet to spend, I don't know, half a day of your time with someone who doesn't have $2 in their bank account, you will have to compensate for your time. So I don't know, where in that spectrum are you?
Well, so when I started out, I took everybody as a client. I spent a lot of time with people who didn't have money because when you don't have a clientele, you just want to have somebody to talk to, or you want to have an agenda that's filled with meetings to give the illusion that you're busy. I'm not there anymore. And for those who don't have money, I mean, you had mentioned that I founded Women and Money Montreal, where I do provide free financial literacy sessions on Zoom. So for those who don't have money and aren't in a situation where they can become my clients, this is something free that I offer, and anybody could join in. I get a lot of clients from there, but I know there are people there who just come for the information, either because they want to do things on their own, which is fine, or because they're in a situation where they just can't put money aside, or there are people who are in a lot of financial distress. but they still want the information, and then hopefully they'll get out of it. So that's how I built my business. At the end of the day, I still have bills to pay, and as part of my own business plan, I've kind of set it up that I have this many bigger clients to help compensate for, I don't like to call them smaller clients, but clients who don't have as much. So I'm able to do that.
Well, I have to tell you, I have been following you in this Woman Money Montreal. I think maybe me and your husband are the only male in that community. Thank you so much for admitting me there. But I can attest that you put a lot of time and effort doing educational segment, Zoom meetings. I don't know. Can you take us to the array of help and information that you provide for free?
A lot.
I know it's a lot. It's just
It's a
like
lot.
I see you and I say, how does she do it? How does she have the time and energy to provide that much information and free advice? So yeah, just to for us to get a glimpse of what you're doing.
Look, a lot of people think that I do put a lot of time and energy into my Zooms, and I really don't, because whatever I talk about, I already know, which is nice because I've been doing this for so long. And how do I come up with the topics every week? It's usually based on what comes up when I'm speaking to people during the last couple of weeks. So I don't sit there and plan out, in agony what the topics are going to be. These are topics that come up in conversations with people. So, for example, the next few weeks, I'm focusing a lot on investments. Why? Because it's RRSP season. So I get a lot of questions about our RRSPs. Should I contribute to an RRSP? I also decipher why one person should contribute to an RRSP versus a TFSA. These are pieces of information that it's not necessarily readily out there, or if it is out there, it sounds like a sales pitch, or if it's out there, it's using a lot of financial jargon that regular people don't, they don't know.
Okay, well, another thing that I like to bring up is the events that you do. And I have to admit, I have copied some of your ideas to create my own event. But, there are not only they are informational, but they are a blast. They are an amazing party. I wouldn't miss one of them for anything. So, where the idea of creating these events came from, and can you tell us how you organize them?
I don't even know how I started my first event. I think I started the first one because of my Zoom sessions, and someone said, "Wouldn't it be cool to meet people in person?" So I just did it. I didn't put too much. Again, I didn't put too much thought into it. I created an event that I would have wanted to go to, because personally, I don't like going to events. I don't like going to other networking events, because I find they're a little bit cold, and it's a lot of what do you do, instead of let me get to know you first. I don't care about your name. I don't care what you do. Let me see if I actually like you and can have a conversation. So that's how it started, and then it just grew. I mean, I do get a lot of clients for them from these events, but also it's such a community. And what I love, besides the business side, is how diverse the group and the events are, and the people who come. When people ask what's the demographic, it's really anyone between the ages of 25 and 60, all different nationalities. Some are entrepreneurs, some work a 9 to 5, some work a 9 to 5 and are entrepreneurs. Some are just trying to figure out life. They hate their job and they just want to meet people. Some are new to Canada and they're trying to figure out the financial system. It's so many different women and so many different income levels, all in the same room, and just really good quality, nice women who attend. I'm so proud of all the events, because it's just a cool event. It's not like other financial based events where you feel that you have to sign up to a program, or there's a follow-up email requesting a meeting. I don't do that. When you do a good job, the business will come. I don't have to beg for it.
Well, for the listeners, let me just add from my side of your event is the informational section. There's always some a piece of information that people can take away from them. So that's educational. But then the ambience, this is usually a nice venue. It's usually you hire the most amazing photographer.
Obviously.
Great food, and you hire this great DJ who creates such a cool atmosphere that a person, no matter what they're into, whether they go for the food, for the music, for the education, or for the friendships, they come out from those events totally happy. They will say, yeah, when is the next one?
Exactly. And that's why I kept doing it because again, I'm not an events planner, but it just happens so naturally. And look, if I could bring together a group of people, it's not easy. Once you reach a certain age, it's not easy to meet people. And like you're usually stuck with the people who you went to high school with or the people you work with. It's not easy to just go out there and say, hi, you want to be my friend. But there's so many friendships and connections that have been made over all the events that I've done. It's amazing, and I love hearing the backstories. Sometimes during the event I'm not able to see it, but later on someone will tell me, hey, I connected with so and we're working on a project together, thanks so much for putting on the event. So it's great.
Okay, well, Lynn, the last question is, there are people who are watching this and they are hesitating whether they should go into business for themselves or not. I wonder what piece of advice you could give to someone who is thinking about starting a business or doing something on their own outside of the 9 to 5 framework.
For me, it's every day that you have those thoughts and you don't do anything about it, it's a day you're never going to get back. So one thing I'm very proud of, I've never lost my childlike fear. When you're a child, you have no fear. You'll jump off the cliff and worry about it afterwards. But as we get older, we just naturally become fearful of any type of change. And if you're scared, if you're worried, go back to that time when you were a child and weren't scared of anything. Because every day that you have these thoughts and ideas that you want to do something and you don't do anything, it's a day that you're not going to get back. And eventually you're going to reach a point where you're going to say, wow, I should have done that. And that's an even bigger fear of mine,
Right.
is not executing any ideas that I have. If I have an idea, I move forward with it and it doesn't work out, big deal. Move on to the next. It's not the end of the world. So just do it. Just do
Wow.
it.
Okay, well, then the last question, Lynn, is how can people find out more about what you're doing, all the social medias or websites, or where and how can they find you?
Easiest ways to find me are on Facebook, LinkedIn, and Instagram. You could find me under my own name, and I'm always around. I'm pretty active on social media, and you could always get in touch with me if it's for business. Just follow me on social media and book a call with me, or just follow me and like my stuff.
You're at
Hopefully, hopefully I'll be there on the journey with you.
the worst case scenario is that they will enjoy a nice party.
Yeah, exactly. There are worse things to experience than that.
Well, Lynn, thank you so much for your time.
Thank you, Alan.